Hi and welcome to this video, which is for you who have a narcissistic mother who is aging, who is now looking for you to care for her, to spend time with her, because she's old and she is at the end of her life. She may have some years left, perhaps many years. Many narcissists do actually live quite a long time. They hang on for a long time. But still, she's at the end of her life, and not being there then for your parent, for your mother, is really difficult. So you really get like having a narcissistic mother and growing up with her, having this affect your entire childhood, your entire life, your personality, your relationships, your choice of career, your own family, and so on. And now it's coming back in a repeat to you at the end of her life. And how do you deal with it? So it's a really complex situation emotionally. That's why it's so incredibly difficult. And it's not just emotionally, because it's also sometimes it is that other people don't notice so much what you do or how you do it in terms of caring for your mother. But other times people can be really commenting and really judging you from the outside without actually knowing what your truth is. So that just adds to the stress and the difficulty and the, I would say, torment inside of you. Because there is, watching this channel, I imagine that you are, like a lot of us, potentially very sensitive, very empathic, and you really do care about being good to other people, being doing right, and you've got a conscience that has developed, in fact, probably so much that you've many times sacrifice yourself in order to be for others over yourself. So that also makes it really difficult to know where to draw the line, how to handle this whole situation. So let's look at this more in this video and see if we can get some points down that can help you, if only to resonate with your experience, if only to validate your experience, or potentially also to help you think about what is important to you now at the time you are in your own life. Because if you have an aging narcissistic mother, then you are perhaps around my age. You are perhaps in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s perhaps, and it's also at a time when we are going through changes ourselves, where we realize that we haven't got a lot of, we've lived more than half our life, and it's really important and valuable what we do with this remaining part of our life. And for many of us, this is a shift of going deeper in connection with ourselves, of being more authentic, of finding ourselves, of unpeeling what we are not, what isn't truthfully ours. And so it is, if you are never going to be your authentic self your entire life, if you're not going to be that now, then when would that be? It's now that you actually, there is a time in your life for actually choosing you. There is a time in your life for being who you are, for expressing who you are, for being who you are in this world. And for many of us, that time is when we are adults, like adults in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and so on. So there are many things that make this very hard, and I've started to talk about it. And it's also really difficult to be there for someone who wasn't there when you needed them, for someone who abandoned you, for someone who betrayed you, for someone who didn't see you, for someone who didn't protect you, for someone who didn't care for you, for someone who actively molded you into being for their own needs rather than seeing you for who you were, which does set us up on a path in life of a lot of defenses, of silencing ourselves, of trying to please, of giving and severing the relationship to ourselves. And that has a major cost in our lives, because it's only when we are our authentic selves that we can truly live well, and even express the more spiritual aspects of ourselves, which are the deeper aspects, that are deeper truth, and why we're really here in this lifetime. So it's like the severing of the relationship to yourself that happens early in your life when you have a narcissistic mother is one of the really profound injuries that we get. And if you can relate to this, and if you're interested, there's a link in the description to this video for a course I'm just doing, which is a 12-week healing journey to undo some of this and to put you on a path of connecting with your authentic self, and to see the programming and undo some of the programming that has happened to you. So we're talking about a situation which most people don't have to do. Most people don't have to consider being a carer for someone who has abused them. So having a narcissistic mother and having to look after her, and most of the time these mothers don't get easier when they age, they get worse, because they are strongly hanging on to the image of themselves as perfect, as having done the best they could, as it's a fake image, and it's their false self, it's not their true self. So they're really having less resources, hanging more onto this image, and there are less people around who are there to validate this and to give them what they have always needed, which is outer attention, other people's feelings that they can manipulate, the various kinds of different kinds of narcissistic supply, getting off on other people's feelings. So when you are the child, you are asked to be in that role, to let her continue taking from you, and to care for someone who did actually sever your relationship to self, who did actually steal joy and happiness from you and potential from you, who closed doors through trauma to the potential that you had, which perhaps you've managed to unlock some of this during your adult life, and perhaps you haven't so much. So this is a level of complexity emotionally that most people do not have to face. And looking from the outside, there's without actually having stood in these shoes, it's almost impossible. It is impossible to even begin to understand all these feelings and all of this, because it's your whole story from your childhood until today. So it's hard, it's complex, a lot of feelings, and it stirs up your trauma story. It stirs up all the times that she abandoned you and the things that she's done to you or admitted to do to you, which caused you a lot of pain. Who else gets to look after someone who took from them? People don't usually have to face this, yet you do. And you also have to face the situation now, plus your whole the struggle of this in your entire life. This is what makes this so incredibly difficult. So when other people judge you, They don't have any way of understanding this. They don't have experience of this. Then they wouldn't be judging. The people who judge are the people who don't understand what this is. So, and the people who understand it are the people who are open and understanding and empathic, and who share and give support. So your narcissistic mother in childhood never encouraged you to be you. She wanted you to be someone that she wanted you to be, and that's how she molded you. She didn't want you to have your own opinions, your own voice, your own preferences, because that was a burden to her. Seeing you as an extended part of herself is what she did to you. So that meant that she had every right to control you, what you looked like, what you were up to, how you should be. And on the other side of that is the punishment if you were not this, if you showed your own, if you went by your own preferences. So this is how she learned to silence. This is how she silenced you, and also guilting and shaming you for expressing yourself, guilting and shaming, making you feel bad about yourself, even when it's actually not anything that you did that was wrong. So she's programming you to have too much guilt and too much shame, so that it doesn't take much for that shame and guilt to be triggered later on in your life for hardly anything, and things that aren't even anything to do with your fault. So you may have turned into a really, you feel a lot of guilt and you feel a lot of shame, and also probably when you were a teenager and you started to have your own opinions, that she might have actually forced you to submit to her, instead of understanding that this is a normal developmental stage of, and how we're meant to separate from our mothers and parents. And you get your adult life, and you've got a personality perhaps that is influenced by this. There are so many different ways and directions this can go in, but being a high achiever is one, to try to get good, to try to be so good, to work so hard, to get praise and attention, to compensate for this really bad and low self-worth inside, to please others, to overgive, to be over-responsible, to be hyper-alert to her and others' feelings and emotions. And if you're focused on others' feelings and emotions, then you're not focused on yourself. So you can see that this has enormous consequences in your own life as an adult. It's something that most of us survivors actually spend most of our lives trying to undo. So in a way, your guilt and your shame and your feelings have been a lot affected by her. That you feel responsible when you shouldn't, that you feel like giving when you shouldn't, that you don't know exactly where the boundaries go, that you feel shame around that as if it's your fault, that you are triggered and feeling shameful, even in situations where, it's got nothing to do with you or you haven't done anything wrong. So she set you up with a thermostat for guilt and responsibility and care for others on your own cost consistently. Your settings have been calibrated by a toxic mother. So that is why it's also really hard to navigate, because you haven't got that that sort of at least the setting, that the signal is a little bit disturbed, a little bit or more disturbed in you. So it's hard to, and you've learned your whole life not to go by your inner signals, but to listen to the outside. So when you are faced with her now as your aging narcissistic mother in need, and it just makes it really, really, really difficult. So your body signals your personal truth. Your body making you feel uncomfortable, wanting to get away, is telling you your truth, that she is toxic, and that this is a situation where you should protect yourself from as much as you can. And I know that part is hard. We do have a duty to ourselves to go with our truth, to listen into ourselves, and to take care of ourselves first. So I want to ask you that if she never felt guilty and she never felt shame for what she put you through, when she hurt you throughout your life, did she feel guilty? Did she ask you for forgiveness? Did she acknowledge what she put you through? Did she, was she ashamed of herself? Did she have a conscience? Did she, looking into your eyes as the child you were that loved her, did she have compassion for you? Did she actually love you and nourish and protect you? I think that you will find that a lot of these answers isn't so positive. So the question is then, why do you feel guilty when she didn't feel guilty at all for what she put you through? That's something to think about. So what is your body telling you? Is it telling you that you are feeling discomfort, you don't want to be there, you want to get away? Then listen to that and do what you can to separate yourself from her. And if you are able to that she is taken care of by someone else, if that is possible. I'm sure that's not possible for everyone, but that's the primary way of dealing with this. And realizing that your guilt is on a setting where she's programmed you for over-responsibility and being for others and not yourself. And when she hasn't felt guilt and shame for all the things that she's put you through, then why should you feel so guilty and so vulnerable and so that you're not doing the right thing on your side? What didn't she put you through when you were a child? How isn't she now being toxic and difficult and still not owning how she's treated you? So why are you feeling guilty about this? So I don't have all the answers to this, but I hope that you felt a little bit seen, validated, and that you've gotten something from this video. And yeah, I wish you all the best with the situation. It is a really tough one. Listen to yourself and your own signals in your own body. I hope this has been helpful, and I'd love to see you again. So if it has, please consider subscribing. And if you'd like to join or if you're interested in the program that I've got coming, then click the link and check it out. Yeah, see you then. Bye.